Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in one of the red flags of how you feel in a relationship, particularly when you're in a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath. And that is namely not feeling that you are truly a person of value. If you do not feel that you're truly a person of value to this individual, you will begin to stick around and stay around until you get a reflection back as such. So a narcissist, based on their sort of personality, they need to be the one that is the person of value. They need to sort of be and feel exclusive, as if they are a unicorn of such in their group, and they will surround themselves really with others who are of that sort of status that they feel themselves on and above. So they like to surround themselves with other high status individuals whom they feel are worthy of their presence. In other words, it could be, a C-level executive, a CEO, CFO, CIO, COO, Chief Operational Officer. So they might feel professionally that they want to, associate with others in their profession so that they can, learn, compare notes, join organizations, share, magazines, things of that nature. So that's really on the professional sense. And that does make sense, where they do. And then, of course, then they, can then teach others who are new. But when it comes to really narcissists who really, are in a posse and are sort of setting up the dynamics, setting up the power force, setting up the chains of command, setting up the power vacuum, if you will. They are going to be the one who can really be the one and only to call the shots in the relationship. And oftentimes they only feel that they really need or want to be around others who are of high status to reflect back a superficial sense of self-esteem and really value. So it is well known not only in the DSM but also in people's and studies and people's experiences that the narcissist can be very superficial, meaning that it's all about their boasting, their bragging, their conquests, as if they are just lining it up, and no one else can compare. They will set this uneven, imbalanced dynamic. Everyone else may feel that you sort of pale in comparison to them. I don't make the money. I don't have the height. I don't have, my fingers and nails aren't long enough. I mean, it becomes, I don't have the right shoes. I don't have, you are unacceptable and treated as valueless. So they're not seeing you for who you are, what you have to bring to the table. So there oftentimes is a defense mechanism of reactivity that people will then put on a false self to become a person of value to this person. In other words, it's the old people pleaser. It's the old peer pressure. You thought maybe that you were grown out of that at this time of your life you would not be engaged or part of this. It does happen. Then people don't realize it becomes subconscious that they're becoming in a way that will be pleasing to the narcissist, but it's usually only for the temporary, because the narcissist does not sort of see others in relationships for the long-term potential. In other words, they're always looking for something better. Even though you're the best of the best of the best, or whatever it is, you're you've given value to them. You've made their meals. You've scratched their back. You've scratched their feet. You've cleaned their house. You've paid their bills. You've listened to their sob stories. You've gotten them through. Oftentimes, there is a lot that you have given, but you don't see it in value reflected back as if it is still, as if it is enough, and as if you don't have to continue to over obligate, overdo, and overextend yourself, because people oftentimes need to do this in order to maintain a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath. In other words, I have to defend and justify myself. Defend and justifying will take a lot of energy, and it is usually sourced from the feeling, in my viewpoint, that you haven't given them enough, you haven't proven to them that you are a person of value enough. These people are looking for proof, prove it to me, prove it to me, prove it to me, and even prove it to me just by putting up with the abuse. You might sit there and then take condescension, sit there and take pathological lies, take the uncomfortable to prove that you are a person of truth, of focus, of stamina, of endurance, of doing the right thing. Whatever it is, you feel that you have to defend and justify yourself relentlessly. And so when you continue to do that, you will begin to lose touch with your sense of value as a person. In other words, the gaslighting takes in. The gaslighting is to, and the brainwashing is to alter your perception that you are a person who has it together. You are a person who is kind, considerate, loving, or just plain old deserve, to have a friendship, to have a romantic partner, to have a profession, whatever it is. This will slowly, remove and feel like a withdrawal from your credibility jar. I've talked about this in the membership videos. I don't know if I've discussed this on the channel, the Peace and Harmony channel, regular videos, but I talk about the credibility jar. And, you need to get back in touch with your value as a person and experience this and not feel guilty or wrong, that you are a person of value and you deserve to be not only treated as such, but to live life in that experience moment by moment. It doesn't have to only be on a Friday. It doesn't only have to be on a Wednesday that all of a sudden, hey, I'm a person of value. You have to be able to experience this on the day-to-day. It is okay if you have sort of pockets of negativity, pockets or periods of time where you have not lived out of self-esteem. Don't worry about it. We're talking about the now, and we're talking about how you can identify and then really solidify that feeling of I am, and I am a person of value, meaning I am worth it. I am worth something, not just monetarily, not just but intrinsically. We're talking, and value as a friend, things that you can't put money on. The fact that I listen, the fact that I listen with heart, the fact that I'm an active listener, the fact that I have integrity, the fact that I have morals, the fact that I have ethics, the fact that I have grammar, the fact, whatever it is, that you can, the fact that I understand your language, the fact that I'm here for you at this time. Realize that you are a person of value. Period. End of story. You have to be able to experience this. And if you have gotten into that sort of, I'm exhausted, I'm mentally exhausted, I'm broken down, I'm experiencing so much fatigue, adrenal fatigue, mental fatigue, these are good signs that you need to restore your sense of I am and your value and build your credibility cup back up. You need to spend some time filling up that inner void, that inner, abyss, that inner pool, that inner reservoir, that inner credibility bank, if you will, and get some energy back. Fill it up. The recovery date is all about receiving. The recovery gift is all about receiving and giving to yourself, and then creating a chain of events between the two that show you that you're a person of value and that you're typifying yourself, and you're living, and your goal is to become, and you're living in that positive, orderly direction, thinking, feeling, and behaving, and becoming. And as you continue to do that, you'll get further and further away from the wrong track. You'll get further and further away from the negative journey. You'll get further away from, being miles back from where you were, and say, whoa, and when you're on it long enough, you'll be able to say, whoa, I've come a long way. And, it doesn't have to be in all areas of your life, even in little areas of your life. Wow, I've come a long way. I've come a long way that I'm not crying as much. I'm coming a long way that I'm no longer as angry. I've come a long way that I'm no longer living in chaos. I've come a long way that my bank account is no longer in chaos. I've come a long way that my emotions are no longer in chaos. I've come a long way that I'm no longer brainwashed. I've come a long way that my diet is no longer reflecting that I am brainwashed. I've come a long way because I have a job and I'm no longer living in social anxiety. Be able to say I've come a long way, and being able to realize and tap into that and give yourself the good old fashioned, pat on the shoulder, the good old fashioned hug. Good job. If you haven't given yourself a hug, why don't you do that? I mean, it's not weird. You need to be able to hug and embrace yourself as a person, and realizing that there's a heart in there, there's a mind in there, there's flesh in there, and that you are, a creation of the divine, not just a creation of a narcissist or a psychopath. You're coming from a bigger place than that. And the more you can open up and become aware of that, you'll realize that you don't have to corrupt and corrode yourself, especially in your valuation of self. Being able to embrace that, oftentimes people feel guilty, they feel wrong, they feel this, it couldn't be this good. You have to experiment then. You have to say, I am a person of value, and be able to be comfortable with it, and then increase that and become more attuned with it. Not to the point where you feel that you're in danger, or this is narcissistic or psychopathic. Do not be afraid of that. I mean, if you're exploiting and taking advantage of people or whatever it is, that ain't cool. And so we're talking about recovering from abuse. Don't act out, what has been done unto you. It is okay, disrupt this cycle, claim your I am. It is very, very important that you do this and you become sort of centered and focused within yourself. You become secure, you become serene, you become peaceful, you become that you're now making better decisions. It's all about being decisive, being assertive, knowing your boundaries and your standards, and you will begin to protect something of value. Just like you'd protect something of value if you could, you'd take it out of harm's way. Treat yourself well. Take yourself out of harm's way. Begin to say, I am. And begin to develop your boundaries and standards, and begin to back off when you're devaluing yourself. Know what devaluing yourself looks like. If you've sort of acted that in because it's been acted upon you, then being able to understand what it looks like when you're not valuing yourself, what it looks like when you're acting it in or acting it out. And being able to say, stop, redial, put it on pause. I am a person of value. And being able to adapt and adjust and be resilient will give you a lot more control. And I think it'll help you then to see, then when the manipulation comes in, you go, oh, no, I'm not falling for that. And you'll just let it fall away. You won't feel as tested. You'll know that you're a person of value. Be able to embrace that today and liberate yourself from what causes you, or has caused you to feel less than a person of value or valueless. Being able to say, hell no, I am a person of value. I just use the H word. No, I'm a person of value. Being able to then, not with the nose in the air, that's not what this is about. Not that, I'm because of this, I am, don't use that sort of abuse as a touchstone because of, be able to leave that whole thing out of the equation. Being willing to let it go is a strength and a skill that will come with time. But be willing to liberate yourself and know that you are a person of value and that you don't have to resort to people pleasing as a way to prove your value. You are a person of value. Being able to embrace this and emphasize that should be, interesting, and even if it's new, allow that to be in your wheelhouse today and see how good it feels. And not just for a day. Be willing to, experience this for 2 days, 3 days, a week, a month, 6 months, a year. See how it will improve your perspective and your lifestyle and your relationships, and report back. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out, have a beautiful day, and stay safe.